One of my favorite things about cooking is that it can be as easy or as difficult as you want it to be, depending on how much time you have or just what you like to cook and eat. Making lunch or dinner can be as easy as 10 minutes of work or turn into hours of prep and cooking, and both can be equally satisfying. In this video, I want to talk about a few common problems you might encounter on your cooking journey and some standard frameworks you can use for how to solve these problems. So let's dive right in. The first one might seem like the most difficult problem of all. I mean, isn't it all we're trying to do to make food full of delicious flavors and textures? While the answer to that question may be yes, this is notably probably the easiest problem to solve, and the answer lies in how we taste and season food. Our overall enjoyment of great food may lie behind a lot of complex aromas and sensations, but most of that comes down to ingredient choice. Think wasabi versus mustard. But when it comes to seasoning our food, fundamentally there are 5 tastes. And while all of these may be helpful to understand, for us as home cooks, the triad of salt, acid, and fat is the most useful to fix this common issue. It's as easy as just adding more of all 3. Like, for example, if I take this plain chopped up cilantro and mint and mix a vinaigrette of red wine vinegar, olive oil, and salt into it, it becomes a simple chimichurri sauce. This hack is so effective, you can actually take something that is already very flavorful, delicious, and just season it more deeply, and it will amazingly only get more and more delicious. The simple yogurt sauce, for example, I started by mixing Greek yogurt with lemon zest, Korean chili powder, olive oil, lemon juice, and salt. And it tasted great, but I just wanted it to have a little bit more of a kick. So while I could have added any more of each individual component to try and up the flavor, instead, if you add more olive oil, salt, lemon juice in proportion, the sauce is just going to get more and more delicious. My general go-tos are extra virgin olive oil, lime or lemon juice, and flaky sea salt, but here's some common options for each category. The second problem may seem like it either has an incredibly obvious solution or not, but cutting into an undercooked piece of meat can really jam up an otherwise very satisfying cooking experience. So yes, the answer is as simple as cooking it more, but here are a few tips to help you make this as easy and painless as possible. If you cut into a piece of meat and it's undercooked, don't panic. Just keep slicing it the way you were going to, and then press the meat back together and put it back in the oven or on the griddle or however you were going to cook it. And press these pieces together. That is the key. And you can still get a perfectly cooked and juicy piece of meat. The third problem also has potentially a very easy fix. And while the best way to deal with this is to use your skills and knowledge to avoid it happening in the first place, in certain situations, especially when you're cooking anything with skin on it, like fish or chicken, sometimes it just happens. So the easiest way to deal with this is by either starting your pan hot enough and with enough lubrication so nothing sticks to it, or by moving or stirring what you're sauteing until enough moisture is evaporated that it effectively can't stick. But sometimes, despite our best efforts, that chicken or fish just welds itself onto the pan. And the trick is to just keep cooking it. Like this salmon, which I rubbed with the chimichurri I made from the first section of this video and started to sear. My pan just wasn't quite hot enough and the skin is stuck. And while every instinct I have is yelling at me to somehow pry this salmon off the pan, the best way to fix this is to not touch it, turn the heat down, and eventually it will unstick itself. Thankfully for me, this fish and yogurt sauce taste great together. So if I just take this eggplant that I roasted in a 450-degree oven and seasoned with olive oil, salt, and lemon juice, throw it on a plate, and then put olive oil, salt, and lemon juice onto that plate, I've got a dish that I would serve to anyone. But anyway, that's all for me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon.